Greetings, everybody out there in YouTube land. How's everybody doing? Welcome to Midnight's Edge. We're here for a special reason today. The boss man himself is celebrating his birthday. Happy birthday, Andre.
Thank you so much, and thanks to everyone who's here. It's really nice that so many wants to show up to celebrate me. I really appreciate that.
Yes, and we will probably have some more guests showing up in a little bit, but with us today, of course, as always, is the voice of Midnight's Edge himself, Rob.
Thank you. Happy birthday, boss man.
Thank you.
And we also have the whitest man on YouTube with us today, Mr. Script Doctor.
Hello, and happy birthday, Andre.
Thank you so much, and thanks for being here. Really appreciate that.
Oh, yeah, we already got some love from the super chats. Carl's Rants and Reviews sent $2 in, says, Happy birthday, Andre. You're a favorite YouTuber. So
Oh,
thank
fantastic. Thanks so much, Carl's Rant and Reviews. Really appreciate that. And
we also got a super sticker from Morbid Fury as well.
Thank you so much. Oh, nice one. Rammstein's Reise was the super sticker there. That's one of my favorite albums of all time.
There you go. And Tatsunami sent us a super sticker as well. It's a piece of birthday cake. Thank you so much. But yeah, as the guests are filing in, Andre, why don't we take some questions from the audience? How's that sound?
Yeah, that sounds excellent, because I don't know if there's much of a plan for this. We can do some pod Q&A session, and then we can start discussing some Dune news and Star Wars news and everything else that just happens to be moving in the world of genre culture, which honestly isn't all that much right now, because everything is kind of on lockdown, isn't it?
Yeah, that's kind of one of the worst times to be celebrating a birthday. But you know what? We're here. Like I said, we're going to have some other people probably stopping in here soon. Sporking News Podcast sent us $2. Happy birthday, sir, he says.
Thank you so much. Much appreciated.
All right. So how we're going to handle this AMA here, I think we'll start with like some super chats and stuff like that if we can. Those are a little easier to keep track of, and then we'll just try and pick some as we go until some more people show up. And like Andre said, we just start talking Dune and whatever. But feel free to ask Andre anything, obviously within reason. He's not going to be giving out any social security numbers or anything like that.
Yeah, so no asking about social security numbers. That's a strict machine secret. So
Yes.
But apart from that, most things goes.
So yeah, we're probably getting ghosted by YouTube. So please share out the stream if you can on all your social media outlets. All right. Let's start with you, Script Doctor. Do you have any questions for our new Norwegian leader?
Oh, that's a good one. Do I have a question for Andre? Well, I would just like to, first of all, like thank you for making this channel of Midnight's Edge. It's always been fascinating to watch, and it was something I discovered early last year. So my question is, why did you start the channel Midnight's Edge, and what was your goal with it?
Oh, absolutely. That's actually quite a common question. And our Patreons will know the answer to this, and they'll get even more elaborate reasons why in the very, very near future. But basically, the channel started in 2015, and the idea actually came to me one night in April while I was in bed. And while I was in bed, I was just like thinking. I was feeling old. I wasn't that old really, but I was like feeling old. I felt left out, not completely content with my career, frustrated with things in genre media that I loved, not going a direction that I liked, and anything like that. And at the same time, I don't really have any social media presence. I still don't, not really. But I kind of like, I felt old. I felt old beyond my years. I felt like a cranky old miser that wasn't really on Facebook, wasn't up to date with who's hot in music in movies, and didn't know the new starlets or stars or anything like that. I always prided myself on being like up to date on everything current. But suddenly it was just like work all the time, and nothing else really. And that was part of the impetus of going to YouTube. I first considered starting a blog just to like be a little bit in with the times. So the first concept of Midnight's Edge was actually a blog. And then I did some research into how to do it, finding topics and stuff like that. And then the whole thing stalled on the fact that I couldn't set up a blog if my life depended on it. Like pure technical things of it. So I tried to do some reading and decided that, nah, too difficult. This isn't, I can operate some pretty complex, not machinery, but programs and stuff. But like, no, that was too much for me. So I let it be. And then suddenly the idea came to me, YouTube channel. Why not? Let's do a Punisher channel. And let me start it with Kevin, who also knows his Punisher, and then gradually build out from there. And that's then kind of how it started. So if you go back to the earliest videos, they're very Punisher and Daredevil centric, and everything Marvel Knights, Marvel Max centric. And then of course the Fantastic Four happened, and then gradually it started to become more behind the scenes development and drama and transgressions and everything like that. So it's like a gradual thing. But yeah, that was kind of like the impetus. I actually felt old. That's how it began. And then the rest kind of fell into place after that. Then it became like, have like a goal of basically just telling, or at least sharing with some people, the evident pitfalls, like super evident pitfalls within genre filmmaking that everyone should be able to see, but that the studio executives from some weird reason just don't, because they keep going into the same pitfalls over and over again. And they're like alerted disasters, and they still step right into them. And I was like thinking, well, can't do anything about those that are there, but if you can reach some audience, maybe you can reach someone in the next generation, someone who's like up and coming right now, and maybe like just give some additional pointers along the way. So that was like the two main motivations behind it, I would say.
Wow. So did you happen to be watching Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan before this idea came in? Because I see some parallels to Kirk's position at the beginning of that movie to what you were going through when you were starting the show.
Yeah. You know what? That's actually a really good parallel. I hadn't considered that before you said it in this moment. Of course, I was very familiar with the movie at the time, and yeah, that was kind of how I felt. I felt old beyond my years. And that was kind of the impetus to get on YouTube, to kind of like get with the times a little bit, because I felt that the times had gone way past me.
Yeah, you got back on the Enterprise, essentially.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, exactly. I want to get back on the Enterprise. That's a good
And
summary.
we have our first guest, well, outside of Script Doctor, who's kind of a regular anyway, Mr. H Reviews. How you doing?
Yeah, good. Sorry, I was reporting some ball bags.
No, nothing to be sorry for. We just got started. We're just hanging out and chit-chatting, and people are going to probably be coming and going as the couple hours go by, but how you doing?
Yeah, good. Thanks. Yeah, not too bad. Just chilling out, I guess. You know, as best I can. How about everyone? Happy birthday, Andre.
Thank you so much.
Well, I've already done that,
Thanks
but
so
you
much.
know,
Glad to have you here.
I'll say it again, you know, because I'm kind. But...
Much
Hey,
appreciated.
could never say it enough. We got a couple super chats real quick, Rob.
Yeah, and before that, I see a number of people in the comments wondering how to say happy birthday in Norwegian, and both Natasha Cloutier and Timon FLP have got it right. It's gratulerer med dagen, so thanks so much. That's much appreciated, everyone. And sorry, carry on with what you were saying.
Oh, it was nothing interesting, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Tom was saying something about the other.
Yeah, Rob, we got a couple questions already in the super chat, so why don't you take these, Rob?
Well, first of all, we get a happy birthday from was it the Sporky News podcast, actually.
Did I miss that one?
No,
Okay, we had that one, but
I was
thanks
say we
yet
didn't get that one
again.
earlier, but yeah, here we go. Yep. Thank you, Scott or Jeff.
Jeff Scott. And we have Abaris84, £2. Happy birthday, Andre.
Thanks so much.
I like this one.
Adabisi, $2. Happy manufacturing date, Andre.
Fantastic. Yeah, you got it. This is actually manufacturing date and activation date we're talking about here. So yes, thanks so much.
And here we got our first question.
from Maldacito, 1904, $2. Andre, what's your favorite Dolph Lundgren movie?
My favorite Dolph Lundgren movie? I think I'm gonna go with Red Scorpion. Yeah,
All
either
right.
that or Expendables 2. I'm gonna go with Expendables 2 as my first choice, with Red Scorpion as the runner-up.
All right. Next question we had was from Lonnie Holcomb. Actually, it's not really much of a question, but there you go.
Lonnie Holcomb, Ostruders, I speak WordPress. Oh.
Oh, thank you. Well, actually, that's the language that I discovered that I did not speak myself. So that was the end of the first iteration of Midnight's Edge. But I was looking into WordPress myself, but decided that that's not going to work.
And we got Barry Peathers with $1.49. Well, it'd be £1.49 super sticker. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Much
And we have
appreciated.
another guest in the wings. Here he is, the Critical Drinker. Hello.
All right, everyone, how's it going? I'm sorry I'm a bit late tonight. I passed out on my kitchen floor again.
No, nobody's late. Nobody's
That's
late.
fantastic. That's fantastic. Awesome. That's awesome to have you here, Drinker.
It would be news if
No,
you didn't.
it's good to be here, man.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's I'm a huge fan of your channel, as you well know. So it's an absolute blast to have you here. It's much appreciated.
Problem at all, and yeah, I'm a big fan of Midnight's Edge as well. Like your your coverage of stuff behind the scenes and stuff is excellent. So keep up the good work, man. I really enjoy it.
Oh, thanks. That is the plan, to keep it up for however long is possible to keep it up. That's there's no end date in sight.
Yeah, good stuff.
As Rob would say,
Hey, phrasing!
Yeah, Rob would indeed say that, and it would be just as ironic every single time.
Oh, yeah.
No, so I understand it's your birthday as well today. Well
Yes,
done for
that is
making it through
correct.
another year.
Oh, well, thank you, and
happy
what a year it's been.
Hey, man. Yeah, it's been an interesting one.
What I will say is, thank God I do not have a round celebration this year. This is just a throwaway birthday, so it's a good year to waste on the whole Corona thing. Speaking of which, Stinch Whackbacker sent us another cool message that's in Norwegian, actually. And what it says right here on the screen is, "Happy birthday, Andre. Hope you will have a nice day going forward, and that the Corona that you get is just a beer." So yes, skål for that, and everyone drink their Coronas. Let's support Mexico in all of this.
that's right. Where were you on that one, Rob? Never mind, it's passed. We don't even get a minimum effort coffee.
My mic was muted.
You don't need the mic to go play the song.
But Drinker, now that I have you
Now
here,
he does it.
how are you holding up for drink in these days of social distancing and probably lockdown and everything?
Well, I was quite lucky in that I had a pretty decent stockpile before this all started, so it's been all right so far.
I'm very glad to hear it. Very glad to hear it. I have to make sure to keep everything everything nice and flowing, including the alcohol consumption.
Yeah, we're all right here actually, because like all the supermarkets and all that are still open, so getting booze isn't so much of a problem.
There you go.
We're lucky in that sense here as well, because because all the supermarkets and everything, they're all open, and I was in the supermarket only 2 times today, and I here in Norway, when I don't see anything, like we're all locked up inside, but I see all the people in the streets and in the market, and everyone is fine and healthy, including all the ancient people that are there on like their assisted walkers and everything, and I don't see anything. Just saying, but yeah,
Yeah,
it's neither here nor there.
we've kind of like over here, we've kind of gotten past that point of like, oh no, like all this stuff's happening and nobody understands where it's leading, and there's like an air of panic going about. And now it's just like everyone's kind of bored. Like that's all we've got now. It's just like, yeah, just kind of counting down the days until it's over, really. So it's not bad as such. It's just kind of, you feel like you're wasting time a little bit.
Yeah, and you know
I
what
started
makes
doing
it-
random stuff in my house, like, you know, just to kill time. You know, when you start inventing jobs that need done. It's just like-
I would do that if I had the opportunity, but I have 2 kids.
I'm
under the
going
age
to
of
wax
5,
the cat.
yeah.
There you go.
Just start
No, because, like,
randomly moving furniture around. It's like, there's no need for it. I just wanted to do it.
no, I wish I had that kind of dead time. I don't. So yeah, but like, what's extra frustrating? You know how many fatalities there are in my country so far?
How many?
Take a guess.
I'd say I'd say it's got to be under 50.
No, it's more than that, but it's under 200. Oh, that's like the thing. Like
Wow,
right
really?
now, yeah, really. Like we are. This is the kind of same fatalities that we should have gotten from flu season anyway. So it's like maybe Sweden have kind of like the right
So,
idea.
like,
I don't know.
Yeah, so did you guys just like go into lockdown really early? Or,
Yeah,
you
no,
know,
we
is it
like-
just
yeah, a
your
month ago.
population's kind of spread out and
exactly
it
a
doesn't
month
travel
ago.
that fast?
I was gonna say, yeah, you were in
went into
lockdown before we were, weren't you?
Yeah, we were. We were in total lockdown already on, let's say, I think it was 1 month ago. That, like, it was on Wednesday, March 18th, Wednesday, March 18th was when basically society shut down and everyone went crazy buying everything. So the evening of the 18th was the one day when, like, the stores were out of some supplies, and then they were fully restocked the day after, and they've been fully stocked ever since. So we've gotten away really, really lightly, but of course I would like to express my sympathies and empathy with everyone that have been stricken more seriously than we have here, because we've gotten off the hook really, really lightly.
Yeah. How's it been in the States with all this?
Oh, we're starting to get a little the same thing, the cabin fever. I've noticed. I don't know how bad it is for you out there, Rob.
No, it's not so bad. I mean, just paper products are still little difficult to come by. Fortunately, I found a 12-pack of TP.
Well, we actually had one of our grocery stores post online, like, we have 13 different sources for our meat. Please don't come in and panic buy meat. Thank you.
Yeah, there is. I mean, you know, there's some stuff on the shelves is getting low. Pasta's getting low. You know, there's bread is getting low. But I mean, you know, you can still find stuff if that you need. I mean, there's no olive oil of all things, you know. But
Olive oil. Yeah.
Well, big Italian American population here. So.
Mamma mia.
Okay.
How about you, Mr. H? How are things on your end?
Well, it's probably the same as where the drinker is. To be fair, like, it's just boring, boring as hell. Like, people are getting really sick of the hypocrisy behind stay at home, but it's fine if you want a virtue signal and clap like a fucking cunt on the Westminster Bridge. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. Don't worry about that. Yeah, you want to go walk your dog in a far-flung field? No, we're going to send a drone on you. But you want to clap with hundreds of other people on a bridge in central London? That's fine. Didn't you know coronavirus does not touch virtue signaling pricks?
Yeah.
Is that why they
It's
yell at
funny
the sun
because
naked too?
There's an awful lot of them in London as well. That's just London in a nutshell. It's like the rules don't apply to us if we're virtue signaling, so we can just go out and be a bunch of selfish assholes.
But the Met Police have been the worst on it anyway. They've been like arresting people in parks and stuff, and it's like, right, that's fine. That's fine, but stick to it. Don't then say that we can all clap like idiots on Westminster Bridge. You know, like, so that, I think that's the real thing here, is just everyone's getting really annoyed with the inconsistencies. You know, especially with the fact that we're still letting people come in and out of the country without being quarantined. That's a problem. We're being told by the OBR that when this is all over, there'll be 3.5 million unemployed. There's people chartering flights from Romania for fruit and veg pickers. What the fuck are you doing? Like, what are you doing? You know, you're telling the whole country is going to be like 3.5 million unemployed, but you're literally shipping people in from a different country to do a job that, I kid you not, 30,000 British workers applied interest for. But no, we won't interview them. We'll just get them from Romania.
Sounds like America.
What the fuck are you doing? So yeah, it's all fine, but I think the fact that everyone's just bored and inside, like the aggression and the kind of just people getting really annoyed with it all is kind of starting to build now. So yeah, fun.
Well, yeah. Well, at least you don't have anybody Well, give it time. We have people here manipulating the masses. Go liberate Minnesota, liberate Michigan, liberate Virginia.
You had like protesters, didn't you?
What, like from the country?
Yeah. I have no idea. I mean, you know what? You're already liberated. I mean, what the fuck,
There's
guys?
some states like even it goes back and forth.
Florida reopened their beaches.
Yeah, it's like the mayor from Jaws is like the beaches will be open. Anyway. Script Doctor, real quick. Go ahead, Kirk Drinker.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, was Trump not encouraging people to do this, like, just to sort of defy the law in their state and go out? And it's like, this is really weird. Your own president is encouraging civil disobedience. Like, how? It's like a war between...
Don't you know?
It's like
there's nowhere to go, though.
Coronavirus, okay? Only poor people and liberals get the coronavirus, okay? Not gonna Republicans. Go out, have a good time. If you get sick, we have beautiful health care that you're never going to get, by the way. Okay? Don't worry about anything. Vote Trump, 2020, keep America great, all right?
Well, let's not get too political, but no, we have the same thing here. Like, he wants the states open, but then the governor's like, no. But anyway, real quick, Script Doctor, before we get into these questions for Andre, what's it like up in Canada right now, or are you back down in the States?
Things are a bit more becoming, I guess, routine. It's not necessarily back to normal. I do know that we're still under 1,500 deaths for this tragic pandemic, but our confirmation of people who do have it is, I think, around 3,300. Or sorry, 33,000.
That's because you guys live like 200,000 feet apart anyway.
Well, yeah, like aside from a couple of dense cities, we're really far apart. So yeah, we're okay in that regard, and also our healthcare workers have been phenomenal. My sister's a nurse, my aunt's a hospital administrator, so I get a little
the healthcare workers. Yeah.
Of like they were really, at least the network that my relatives work in, they were very prepared. Like about 2 months before this thing actually hit, they started figuring stuff out because they dealt with SARS and MERS and all that stuff when it hit Southern Ontario years ago. So they're basically have upgraded that reaction time and plan and have implemented it pretty well from what they're telling me. And the fact that the numbers are a lot lower than what was expected is also pretty good. So we're getting by, but it's sort of kind of normalized out. I personally haven't been too bored. I've found lots of stuff to do, but I definitely understand and
a lot of writing.
See the cabin fever setting in for a lot of other people, especially friends. I get my phone sometimes blows up for like 3-4 hours straight with my friends texting me about what's going on. So yeah,
I'm sure I'm one of them. All right, let's get to this question here. From Jedi Master Zetopia, he sends $5, or she. I'm assuming it's a he because I think that's his picture in there. But what is your favorite character phrase that Tom and Rob do? First of all, you have to assume that he actually spends the time to listen to us be idiots, and then secondly,
that's a heavy assumption right there.
Right? And then I love Congo and Tom Rothman. What is the next Dune book review coming out as well? Is also the question. So
I have to say, I absolutely like as particular catchphrases. I don't really have any, but I have to say that I'm a huge fan of Rob imitating both Tom Rothman and Trump. That's hilarious each time. Rothman because his imitation sounds nothing like the real Tom Rothman, but it sounds like something that Rothman could have sounded like. So that's the amazing bit.
Did someone mention my name? Hello, it's
Hey,
Andre.
Tommy!
Oh, hi there, Frank. I see you've gotten away from Kathy for a little while.
Shush! Don't say her freaking name. She hears it too many times. She'll show up.
Andre, I just want to say happy birthday. Have you been bat mitzvahed yet? Oh.
Arthur, well, thank you so much. We can
yes.
deal with it now that Passover is finished. But yeah, no, I haven't had my bar mitzvah or britz or anything like that. So yeah.
You know, Andre, there's a few shekels in it. If you're a little nicer to stone, you know.
I got a present for you. I got to give it to you quick though, because the drug dogs are on my ass. Here is a bag. Hide it quickly, and here's a copy of Congo. See you later.
Fantastic. Oh yeah.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday, Andre. Many, many more. Not too many.
Much appreciated. Yeah, no. So basically, I'm a huge fan of some of those imitations. Are just absolutely spot on. And yeah, and also your Trump is fantastic. Of course, we try to keep things non-political, so in moderation. But like, oh my God, it's amazing. Like, one of my favorite Trump impersonators is Rob, so that's pretty awesome. And also Tom does an amazing Arnold Schwarzenegger.
No, I
Plus
don't do
Patrick
that.
Stewart, of course.
My Patrick Stewart is more just. Everybody says it sounds like Tom Hardy, which. I mean, he did play him once, so
He did, so that's better praise than they can hope and dream to understand.
But we always have old man Picard. That's true.
Absolutely. As for the other question, when is the next Dune review? Well, here's the thing, because I said that I was listening to Dune by way of audiobooks while commuting, and that's really, really true. Every time when we do like a promotion of like VPN, like Surfshark, for instance, we really do use Surfshark VPN.
Yes.
And when I push Audible for Dune audiobooks, I really, really, genuinely do listen.
Yeah, I pay for it
to Dune audiobooks through Audible, and I did that while commuting. I'm not commuting anymore. And unlike many of you guys, as I said, like if you hear something in the background here right now, that's my 2-year-old crying and my wife trying to deal with it to the best of her ability. I don't have all that much free time because the kids are not in kindergarten or anything like that. So yeah, here's the kindergarten 24 hours a day, it feels like. So I just haven't got that much time to listen to the Dune audiobooks, and those Dune audiobooks, or those books, my God, they're long. They're really, really long. And there's one thing that I dislike with Kevin J. Anderson and Brian Herbert's Dune book so far, is just that they're too verbose, and the books are just too long. They could easily have been half the length of what they are. And even that would have been pushing it. Like, these are books that are like 1,000 pages long, but you could easily condense them into 2-hour movies, no problem. So yeah, the next one is coming. I hope inside a month. Yeah.
All right, and I know we had a lot of people ask about Dune earlier. We'll get into that here.
Oh yes, we will.
But,
we will. Yeah.
We got a few more super chats, Rob.
Nikki D, $10. Happy birthday, Andre. Many thanks to you and the Emmy crew for your informative videos. Also, shout out to the Critical Drinker for his fantastic Drinker Fixes Fat Thor video. Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, that was good fun. One of the things people ask me on live streams and stuff is like, okay, well, you didn't like this character or that character. What would you have done? And it's like, well, okay, there's time to lay out what I would do to try and fix these characters, and it's quite a good little writing exercise. So that was fun. I did one for Luke Skywalker as well just a few days ago.
I will say about Fat Thor that I really liked that jumper that he's wearing in the movie. That's an actual Norwegian thing. It's called lusekofte. It's kind of like this national thing. I have one too. So maybe when I do like a live stream, when I get like a camera or something, I'll wear one of those in honor of Fat Thor.
There you go. I was going to say pictures or you don't exist.
Yeah. So yeah.
John Dorf.
Dorsey. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, $5. Some of my stimulus check for you fine gentlemen. I raise a glass to creators with integrity. Happy birthday, Andre, and keep calm and carry on.
Thank you so much. That's much appreciated. And again, thanks to every single one in the comment and to all the congratulations there. I see them and I really appreciate them. So thanks.
Our good friend Tiberius Monk.
$5. Tiberius Monk 84. Sending love and appreciation to Andre at Midnight's Edge for a fantastic channel, keeping us entertained in these challenging times. Happy birthday.
Thank you so much. And we do try. Right now, it's like more difficult because the stuff that we like to talk about, that's mostly dried up as well, hasn't it? There's not that much to talk about. But we do try, and we are able to find things like the AMC thing. So if you haven't seen our AMC video and you need a Tiger King fix or something else wild like that, then go and check out our AMC video.
Carol fucking Baskin.
I love the comment I posted on Twitter yesterday. Did you see that, Andre?
No, I haven't seen it. So but feel free to repeat it for everyone.
Paraphrasing, it was basically Netflix releases Tiger King. Midnight's Edge says, "Hold my beer."
Yeah, Drinker, did you see our AMC video yet?
No, I didn't actually. No, so I'll give that a watch after this.
Yeah, you absolutely should. I liked what many people said about it, so we have to give massive kudos to Rob, because that's one that Rob actually wrote with just some minor pointers from Tom and myself. So that's all Rob in there. Basically, it begins with an ordinary corporate thing, and it ends with, just see it.
Well, it says it right in the outset, but yeah.
It takes a wild turn. Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it got a lot of comments comparing it to Tiger King, oddly enough. Tiberius Monk also sends us a question for Andre.
Yeah, sure, go for it.
Random question: favorite real or fictional food from a movie or TV show you would like to eat? Keep up the great work.
Porg.
Oh, hopefully Becca's not listening.
That came quickly. They look tasty, so I want to eat me some porg.
I would say,
he's got one cooking over the fire. It does look good.
And I'd like to drink it down with some fine Romulan ale.
Who wouldn't?
You beat me to it.
Yeah. I mean, you have to eat like 3 or 4 of them because they don't look very filling. But yeah, that would be a good delicacy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you can make a porg sandwich. Like, there's just enough there, I think, to go
pulled
on a bun.
porg.
So pulled porg. Yeah, there you go.
Pulled porg. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Pork sandwich.
Wash
that
it down with
fantastic.
a glass of green milk.
Yeah, or a pulled pork burger.
Nice.
pork sandwich. Yeah. Nice barbecue
with barbecue. Yep. And Jimmy Olsen Blues, my favorite Spin Doctors song, sent us $2.
Happy birthday! Yep. Last lady.
Did we miss one just before that?
We had another super sticker from Yodam Darkstar, sorry. $10 super sticker, and it was a little doggy saying thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you right back. So that's much appreciated. Always is.
All right, well, since we're dry for the moment on some questions, Andre, the big thing all over the internet the last couple days is Dune is gone woke.
Absolutely. Guys, I actually have an editorial about this that we already have written and recorded, and it's going to come out really, really soon. We're just waiting for approval from a third party that is involved with it. So you'll see exactly what I mean when we get to it, but I'll give you the head start right now. In my opinion, no, Dune is not going woke. I fully understand everyone that thinks that. I would, if I didn't have access to the information that I have, I would jump to that conclusion as well. But so far, based on the production itself, and what I know about it, what I've heard about it, what's in the script, everything, no, it's not going woke. The only thing that can possibly be construed about the movie itself as woke in any way, shape, or form is the gender and race bending. That's something that's that there's really no reason to do. It doesn't harm the movie in any way from what I've heard, not in the slightest. It doesn't detract from the movie. Face it, Liet Kynes was never an important character. If anything, what they have done is that they have beefed up the role slightly in a way that makes sense within the story. But the character could just as well have been played by a white man as by a black woman. There's really no reason for it. So
Other
that
than
thing
Zendaya,
is,
from what you said.
yeah, apart from that, yes. But you could have achieved the same thing with having a black man, for instance.
Right. But my point is basically, so what I said, I think last night on Doomcock's stream was the director wanted Zendaya bad enough, so I guess it all kind of hinges on whether or not she was worth it.
Yeah, exactly. So basically,
But we
they
only see
wanted
one of her parents in the novel, so it doesn't really matter at that point.
Yeah, exactly. But basically, let's just assume that she's going to be a tad darker than the rest of the Fremen. And to explain that, then you can have a black, one of the parents be black. And since one of the parents is an off-worlder, Liet Kynes is an off-worlder, it kind of makes sense to have that character be black then, to account for Zendaya's casting. Of course, you could have achieved that with a black man, and they chose a black woman, and really this is it. That's all there is to it. There's nothing else, and the character does the same function as in the original novel. And the focus on the Bene Gesserit is also right there in the novel. They can do some pretty cool stuff, but again, no more than what is already in the novel. So I think that the wording of this Vanity Fair piece was very unfortunate and not meant for us, but meant for the rest of the industry, is my opinion. That it was put in Vanity Fair, which appeals to a primarily female audience, to get the word out there, to kind of like win the female approval right away. And why would they do that? Because what is Paul? He's kind of like a white savior, so they kind of have to get away from that to begin with. So I think this is deliberate in that end. And of course, people in our circles, who of course are very sensitive to this sort of thing because we've been burned so much.
Right.
Then I think only take the signals that are there, which is perfectly understandable. So I don't blame anyone for jumping to the conclusion that this has gone woke. But in my opinion, based on what I've seen so far, the movie has not. And if something happens to change that perception, if I change my mind, if I suddenly cease to believe this movie, I will be the first to let you know, and I will be standing on the barricades right there with you. But until such time, I do not believe Dune has gone woke.
And I gotta say, I think a lot of the problem is that people have the 84 Dune so ingrained in their head, because if I'm not mistaken, in the novel, doesn't it even... The explanations are pretty vague, and in some they even say they're darker skinned, right?
Yeah, well, this is actually there. The Fremen, they are the descendants of basically Middle Eastern, so they are meant to be slightly darker.
And speaking of books, we have an author among us, Mr. Stephen Walton, the author of the Fandom Menace Chronicles. What do you call it, sir?
The Fandom Menace Volume 1. Thank you, Tom. Happy birthday, Andre. How are you, sir?
Thank you so much. I'm good, thank you, and thanks for joining us.
No, I appreciate being able to come here and support Midnight's Edge. May I give Andre a birthday rant?
Absolutely, sir.
Absolutely.
Midnight's Edge. Ahead of the curve, everyone. Ahead of the curve. Ahead of the hashtag. Ahead of the Fandom Menace. Not only do we need this channel, not only do we need Andre, not only is he a resource, something to be valued, for his editorials are bar none. They are the example that is set to every other channel in giving us our information about what's going on within the fandom. Not only do we need this precious voice, this wonderful personality that is given to us so much, but it is because Andre looks at the facts. Andre is a fan. This is why when we speak, when we hear from Andre, we are getting the best in video editorials on YouTube. This is why the Fandom Menace turns to Midnight's Edge to listen to their critiques, to what they have to say. There is no other channel that is more important in unbiased information. There is no other channel that is more important in how they see things, because they take the facts and they present it to us. Midnight's Edge is one of the best channels in the Fandom Menace. If you have not subscribed, please do. Andre, I can't tell you how much you have meant to me over the last 2 years as I have watched your videos, as I have consumed your content, the passion that you have. It is just proof that you are a fan of several different franchises. And I have to say, hail Andre, happy birthday. Subscribe to Midnight's Edge if you have not, and hail the Fandom Menace.
That was beautiful. Thank you so much. High praise there, and I
Cheers,
really,
sir.
really appreciate it. So thanks so much. And also, I would also like to say hail to you, hail to the Critical Drinker, hail to Script Doctor, hail to my peers, Tom and Rob, and hail to absolutely everyone else, from Geeks and Gamers to Nerdrotic to Doomcock, and everyone in our circle. We're all doing a fantastic job. And I feel that when we started out, I'm sure there were more, but at the time it certainly felt like Midnight's Edge was the only one doing what we kind of do. And now there are so many others, and I really, really appreciate that. So, hail everyone.
Hail.
Thank you.
Hail.
Yeah.
And going
I'm
off
honored.
that, it's almost
Hail.
perfect that we have Scott's message here from Sporking News Podcast. I guess Rob's not going to read it. Andre, I want to be the first.
Sorry, my mic was muted. Sorry. Andre, I want to first thank you for coming on, supporting the Fourth Wave. Second, when was the first time you realized your channel had reached has reached in a powerful voice? Drinker 2.
First of all, thanks for the donation and for the support. And when I first realized that the channel has reach, that was in the aftermath of, not actually in the aftermath, but in the midst of the Fantastic Four, when that whole thing was going down, and their Midnight's Edge was ahead of the curve. At the time, Midnight's Edge was the only channel doing critical analysis and discussion of what was going on. There were no one else. I checked. Of course, there were other channels discussing it, but in my opinion, they were discussing things that we had discussed 2-3 weeks ago, and were well known by the time others had picked it up. Certainly, of course, as the movie came closer, it was a huge debacle. But like we discussed it months in advance, and very few others did that. It was at the time when that movie opened. That was the first time when I got feedback from people connected to the industry that your coverage is doing some real damage. And that was like, whoa, high praise. What do you mean high damage? Like, well, people are more aware of what this project is and why it should not be supported, both outside of and within the industry. And that's because many people have clicked into this. That was the first time that I felt that the channel had some reach. And the second time was with Ghostbusters, where Midnight's Edge was the only channel actually doing digging into the Sony hack to see what the heck was actually going on there. And everyone was picking up on our reporting there, and that kind of went way mainstream. And it was all from Midnight's Edge. That was like the first time when there were literally like hundreds of news reports from all over the world quoting Midnight's Edge. That was pretty cool, and that was when I really felt that, whoa, we're really making waves here. So that's what it was when I first felt that. Drinker, when did you feel that your channel actually made an impact?
Well, I guess it's kind of hard to pin it down. I guess last year when Game of Thrones season 8 was going on and I started doing reviews for that, my channel had just started to take off around about that time, and I just almost on a whim I reviewed like an episode of that because I was like, God, this show really seems to be going off the rails here. Like maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm crazy, but I'm going to air my thoughts. And suddenly, like, I go to bed after putting a video up and then wake up the next day and it's had like 200,000 views or something overnight. I'm like,
Wow.
oh, wow. Like, I guess this is I'm onto something with this. And yeah, it just went downhill from there. I mean, I think we all know what happened to that season. And yeah, that's when I started, just lots of people contacted me, you know, not necessarily people within the industry, but just other YouTubers and you know, people that I'd been fans of long before I made it as a channel, and it just went from there. It snowballed from there. So
That's when I became a fan, for sure. With your with your Game of Thrones coverage, that was like, whoa, this guy instantly skyrocketed one of my favorite YouTubers.
Yeah, I wasn't kidding when I told you kept talking about you.
Yeah. Yeah, it was fun to cover. I mean, like I say, I wasn't sure about it to begin with because I'd really done movies up until that point. But you know, as a writer, a storyteller, just seeing what they were doing with this amazing show and the sort of legacy of storytelling in it, the way they were wasting so many characters and so many plot threads, I was like, God, I have to talk about this. So it felt good to know that so many people agreed with me.
Yeah. Speaking of talking about, we are now about 1 year ago since Game of Thrones died. And I just want to hear, guys, you, everyone in the panel, what do you think about it? In my opinion, the final season of, well, really the final two, but especially the final season, killed Game of Thrones dead. There's no more. No one cares. All the pop culture imprint is gone. No one cares about the books anymore. No one is collecting the Blu-rays. It's all gone, completely destroyed.
Well,
That is my hypothesis. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think you're right.
I was late to the game. I never got into it because I was waiting for it to be done or nearly done before I started. And that's when it all kind of came crashing in. And I think you're right, Andre, because just hearing... It was the first time I remember hearing beyond the quote-unquote fandom. Like, the actual... The access media was losing their fucking minds. You know, it was even worse than the Buffy the Vampire situation for going there. Now you know how it feels, you know, Rob. Who's muted again? There you
go. Yep. Shoes on a little, get a little taste of your own medicine. Yeah, I don't, I have no opinions on Game of Thrones. I never watched it. So
boobies and dragons and floppy wieners. That's all I know about it.
Well, basically, you're the wrong guys to ask. Steven, were you a fan of Game of Thrones?
First off, Critical Drinker, I was late to the party. I only subbed to you or found you about a month and a half ago. I enjoy all your videos, your delivery, your everything about your channel, man. Keep it up. You're doing great.
Thank you, sir.
You're very welcome, sir. Thank you. I've been watching Game of Thrones since it first came on air. I wasn't reading the books. I actually just started reading the books for a group. A bunch of us are reading for Sporking News Podcast and Stig. They're doing a show about it. But I have loved this show from its inception. First off, I enjoy boobs on TV. That helps me to relax. It's like John Candy in that one movie in the strip club. It helps me think. I
think.
Right. No, I do actually. I enjoy great art. I also enjoy watching nudity. I also enjoy fantasy elements and the intrigue that these characters had. The character development was so good. And then to come to the realization that Dan and Dave were hacks once they ran out of material. And they had to do it on their own. I mean, around that 5th, 6th season, it just all fell apart, and it was heartbreaking for me because I had lived through this show as I watched it. It inspired me to help write some of the fiction that I've written. Just all the multifaceted aspects of the show, and then to see these well-written, well-formed characters just fall apart, just turn from something that I really appreciated viewing into garbage. It really just was like nobody cared, and it was a heartbreaking thing to see. I think when I watched when season 8 was happening, I think I was watching Mauler's videos, and that was like my catharsis. Really was commiserating with other people who are Game of Thrones fans and the Fandom Menace. But the one thing that I really didn't see as that show fell apart, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, was the actors coming at the fandom. It was as if the actors understood that they didn't put out the best content. The creators, Dan and Dave, didn't do the best that they could do. So, that I'm appreciative for. But again, as Andre said earlier, we have been burned by so many different franchises for different reasons. In as far as their dedication to lore and creativity, that it's hard for me to get invested in anything new. And Game of Thrones definitely added to that. It's very disappointing to see what had happened to that show, to go from such heights to just utter crap.
Yeah, that about sums it up. Script Doctor, what's the current standing of Dumb and Dumber in Hollywood?
I haven't heard anything about them since the talk of their Netflix deal and they left Star Wars.
So you're telling me there's a chance? Had to make the reference. Sorry.
That's a good reference. Absolutely. Much like Tom, I did not jump into Game of Thrones because, the first thing is that I didn't have HBO at the time, and some of my friends had seen the first few episodes and just raved about it, and I figured, oh, this might actually be like a show that would stress the hell out of me because I would be clamoring for the next episode. I don't want to do that to myself, so I'll wait for it to end and then do a binge, or at least get far enough along to the point where I'll be satisfied by a couple of seasons and then binge. And then about a month later, a friend of mine sent me the mission statement that Dan and Dave wrote to HBO to pitch their show based off of A Song of Ice and Fire. And I read all 45 pages of it, and I kind of had a little inkling that these guys are relying way too much on the novels. And I checked to see how many novels had been released at that time, and it was like 3, I think. Because the first one was done like late 90s, and then there's another one just shortly after that. And I think the announcement for the third was coming on the cusp of the season 1 premiere, if memory serves. I can't remember 100%, but I'm like, if they're trying to get a long-term show out of this and they're relying so heavily on the books, that means that they're going to be doing more adaptation, which means it's really George R.R. Martin writing the show than Dan and Dave, and that's not a really good sign. So I had my reservations, but for a couple of years, I mean, it was still popular, it was still going somewhere. I've only heard a couple of criticisms saying like they dropped some storylines early on in the first 2 seasons that weren't playing out. But I still didn't want to go crazy and have to wait weekly or in between seasons for the show. And then season 7 did not do too well, and then season 8 was just a dumpster fire. And I was like, well, I saved myself a whole bunch of stress from there. And yeah, it also goes to show that it's for I guess writers with talent but not much skill, adaptation is very easy to sort of parlay into a good career. But you need the skill and understanding of the story itself in order to really flesh out a series, especially when you're going outside of a conventional genre like fantasy. It's such a popular genre, obviously created a bit more robustly because of J.R.R. Tolkien, but it's still like a hard one to do, and there's not a whole lot of fantasy writers in Hollywood out there. So for these guys to have taken that undertaking themselves and then seeing where it went when they pretty much panicked because they didn't have any more material to draw from, kind of shows you that they probably weren't the best choices for this at all, and maybe HBO jumped the gun a little too soon when they decided to greenlight the show.
Yeah, I would add one thing to that. If you recall from our Star Trek coverage, someone reported to us that Star Trek Discovery Season 3, from what they've seen of it, goes beyond dumpster fire. And I think that is true for Season 8 of Game of Thrones as well. Calling it a dumpster fire is an insult to dumpster fires everywhere, because they at least burned trash.
Don't say it so, Andre. You mean it's not going to turn around?
Oh no, I had such high hopes for Star Trek Discovery.
Oh, well, Should we say how long they were shooting on the last?
Yeah, absolutely. Shoot, go for it.
33 days we heard from two different sources, and I think Script Doctor, you heard roughly the same thing, right? They
Yeah,
shot for
about
the
a month.
finale.
For a finale, about a month, which is crazy.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Script? Does that mean there's a lot of rewrites involved, or is that just chaos?
It could mean anything.
Reshoots, or
It could
just
mean
shooting that
reshoots,
long, yeah.
rewrites. It could mean that maybe they shot a season finale and then we're told you're not coming back for a fourth, so they decide to make an epic sort of series finale afterwards. And 33 days back to back is kind of like a really tight movie, because usually when you're shooting films, at least bigger ones, 33 days is never back to back. There's usually some days off in between so that they can reset things or get stuff their bearings. There's a lot of scheduling down, but it's down to like pretty much the second. And if there is like a time off between for actual shooting, it's usually for set construction or redress or what have you. And it's maybe between 6 to 12 hours, so it's not really a full day. But yeah, 33 days for a finale is unheard of.
Can I just ask, like, is 3 seasons like the minimum number needed to save face for a show so that it doesn't seem like a complete disaster? Because there's a lot of shows that have just gone down the tubes, but they still get their 3 seasons. And is it just like that's enough for us to say, oh yes, well we only ever intended to do 3, so that allows us to tell our complete story? Because I was just thinking about...
Yeah, there's definitely a scapegoat aspect to it, because there's a thing in Hollywood, and I'm sure you know it well, Critical Drinker, is the rule of 3, right? So your beginning, middle, and end, your running gag of 3 times hit out through your show. So yeah, I mean, Netflix started the rule for their series where they, unless it's a really, really big hit, they're not going to do more than 3 seasons. Rarely do they cancel before 3 seasons. Sometimes they negotiate the licensing rights at the start for 3 seasons. But yeah, it's definitely, it also gives ample time so that if by the 2nd season you don't think it's going to really make it, you can try and shoot for the stars and knock out a better 3rd season to sort of wrap everything up. In some cases, the shows are given a heads up for that, but in most cases they aren't. One of the shows that I actually warmed up to, which I wasn't expecting, was the Santa Clarita Diet. It ended up becoming like a lot more clever than I was expecting, and I thought it was going to get a good 4th season, but they decided not to pull through with it. So it does end on a cliffhanger, and yeah, it was a sleeper, in my opinion, at least.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
We've got what was our next one here? Let me see. We got a Culture Casino sent a super sticker with a piece of birthday cake. Thank you so much, Culture Casino.
Thank you.
John Dorsey sent $5. Eldebran whiskey. I can't talk today.
Eldebran.
Eldebran.
Yep.
Eldebran. Yeah.
Shows you how much of a drinker I am. Who do you think gave it to Guinan?
It's not a real whiskey. It was first introduced by Scotty in the original series, but he didn't have a name for it. He just called it It's Green.
I don't pay attention. Matthew Sturgis sent us a $24.99 super chat.
Thank you so much. That's much appreciated.
Happy birthday, Andre. Hope you're having an awesome day, and thanks to you and everyone here for providing awesome content during Redacted Chan's Wrath.
That's amazing. Well, basically, we're all in this together. So we all basically just have to make the best out of it to pull through this. No matter how one reacts to it, you all gotta laugh, and we will do our best to provide you some entertainment, although YouTube is doing its very best to prevent you from seeing it. I have to say that. So everyone, do check the channel from time to time, because even if you get notifications, if you are busy doing something else and for whatever reason you don't click on notifications, YouTube might suddenly stop sending them, even if you've said you want them. So everyone, please go and visit the channel.
Check the bell,
because we do notice that YouTube have done something in their algorithm, because they absolutely prefer you to watch CNN and Fox News and stuff like that, and not so much independent commentary, because views are down, not just for us, but for everyone. And that's them messing with the algorithm. So please, everyone, do check in every once in a while to see new content that you might have missed.
And for your favorite YouTubers, guys, try and retweet, share their links. Leave some comments and likes. It really means a lot to these guys. Please do that. Support your favorite YouTuber. Thank you.
Oh, and support author Stephen Walton as well. He also has a channel, so check that out. John Willis sent us $5. Rob,
Rob's muted.
as usual. Okay,
I'm
I got
muted,
it.
yeah.
That's all right. Why does Hollywood buy source, but then not involve the authors of the source? Is it HW Pride or
Hollywood
Pride.
Pride.
That's what I thought it was trying to. Yeah. Or is it the author doesn't want to be involved? Well, I know Script Doctor and a few others may have a little bit better take on this, but I know part of it is because it's just fundamentally sometimes they will allow an author or whatever to be involved, but only at arm's length, because you don't need somebody constantly nitpicking you on the set about shit. And a lot of authors are good about it too. They don't want to be a part of it. They just want to kind of separate themselves from it. Yeah, go ahead, Critical Drinker.
Well, I was just going to say, like, for my first book, like, we sold the rights for that for a film option, and it's written into my contract that I've got like a degree of creative input, which is probably boilerplate, but it basically means like I can make suggestions about any aspect of it, but they don't have to listen to any of it. And I would imagine it's the same for most authors, unless they're like super powerful and successful. You basically get to make suggestions, but you can't force any issues. Once they own the rights to your work, they can adapt it any way they wish.
Yeah. And I think that's a key point right there. My impression, and the Script Doctor, you're the actual insider here, so correct me if I'm wrong, but whenever Hollywood or some studio in it is buying some kind of source material, it's not because they think that this source material is perfect. It's, as far as I understand, it's for one of two reasons. One is that the source material comes with a brand, and with that branding comes free coverage and some awareness and everything like that. That's one thing. And the other is because you have a filmmaker, even in the case where there is no brand, but the filmmaker says, aha, okay, here's a story that I can reshape into my own thing. Like, this is something that I think is a good idea. It's maybe not very well executed.
That's a little bit more old
itself.
Hollywood, but yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's like one of those two things is the reason why they want to source, and then they ignore the details of the source or the author. Script Doctor.
Yeah, it's pretty much that. There is a mantra in Hollywood called "concept is king." So if the concept is really good, but maybe they don't think the execution of the novel is that well, they'll negotiate and buy rights, usually with a higher cost, to basically say, well, we have the concept and you can put any input you want, but it's our property from this point on in this medium. There's other cases where some directors really love the authors and they try to work in tandem with them to create the script and then the final product. I've met more novelists that are just uncomfortable trying to write a screenplay than they are a novel, so they don't usually like to get involved in that regard, and I respect that greatly, because novels are about the finer details and scripts are about the bare essentials, so you got to reconcile that, and for some creatives it's very difficult to do. But yeah, it's usually about brand recognition, built-in audience from the other source material, and it's a tricky path to walk, because the goal is to sort of use that existing audience to build a larger audience for the new medium, but at the same time you don't want to burn the bridge that made that audience in the first place. And you have some responsible productions and creators out there that are trying to do that with certain works, and then you have others that just don't care. They got the rights they needed, and they got the brand recognition that they think they can parlay into something bigger, and they're just going to do what they want. So it's not an easy process, but it's out there.
Yeah.
What I meant by old... Oh, go ahead, Andre. It sounded like you had something.
Darth Maul had a great comment here. Perfect illustration to your point is the movie Saving Mr. Banks. Yes, indeed. It's about how Disney and the creator of Mrs. Poppins worked to get the movie done. And basically, the writer of the author of Mary Poppins was not a fan of the Disney movie. But there you had basically the thing that Disney, he liked the idea of Mary Poppins, because that idea gave him a vision for how this can be done Disneyfied. And that Disneyfied version was not in keeping with the author's intention. So, yeah, there was some conflict there. And I
It
have
also had
another
some repercussing effects because I've seen 4 different plays of Mary Poppins. One in Edinburgh in 2008, and it was basically this the Disney movie verbatim. And all I could think of was like the author would not like this at all. Because
Yeah,
well, but then again, you
exactly.
got tons of tapes of her going through the process with them as they're writing it and stuff too, which is really odd to me because they're all over everywhere. You can find them. I got a whole CD full of them from the soundtrack. But anyway, I don't know how I lost this in the mix, but we got another super chat in here. See if I can find it on the main thing here. But Adam Mulford sent us one. Where did it go?
Yeah, I have it right here.
Okay,
Adam
go
Wolford
ahead.
sent us $5, and he said, "I found you guys with a Sony hack and world-class bullshitters with Nerdrotic, then Doomcock EFAP. Hey Andre, when are you going to be on EFAP?" What the hell is EFAP?
I don't know if Andre has enough time for EFAP.
those are marathons, of my understanding.
Yeah,
they
it's
are.
on Mahler's
Yeah.
channel. It's where they break something down
Yeah, they-
scene by scene or shot by
Ef-
shot or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, right.
It's an
Oh, yeah, those
endurance
things.
experience.
Yeah.
EFAP stands for every frame a pause.
And,
Oh, right. That's, yeah. No, because
Chances
it's,
are, if one of us was going to be able to participate, it would probably be me.
yeah. Yeah, I don't think that I have the time for that.
I was going to say Andre doesn't have the time,
yeah.
and Rob doesn't have the patience. So
I'd love to do it, but my schedule just may not permit such an epic live stream.
And might I say that Darth Maul's avatar was great? I just went back and looked at it. At Darth Maul, and it looks like he was married to Elsa. And
this one here, I
What a
got it.
combination.
it's so good.
And they made the Night King. Is that what's
The
that?
Night King.
Yeah.
I haven't even seen it, but I know what you're talking about just from the videos and stuff. That's good. Oh shit, that was really good. All right, let's see here. I think we're caught up then on the super chats, are we not?
I believe so. I believe we are. I'm just going to do an extra check, but I think that we are. So then we are free to shoot the breeze about pretty much anything we feel like.
I actually have a question for Andre.
Sure.
I heard that the pencils down has now affected Conan.
Yes, it has.
How do you feel about that?
Before we get into
Well,
that, we just want to say Critical Drinker has to drop off here, so I want to thank him so much for coming to Andre's little shindig here before we answer that question real quick, if that's all right.
Yeah.
No, no
absolutely.
problem
Thanks
at all, guys.
for,
It's been a pleasure to join you this evening.
yeah. Thanks for joining us. It's you're always welcome, and it's always a pleasure to have you here.
All right, nice one. And enjoy the rest of your birthday.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Take
All
care.
right, I'm going to
Critical.
go away now.
Thanks so much, Critical Drinker.
Yes.
We appreciate you stopping by.
Take care, Gurkha.
Go away now, but be sure to come back.
Yes, absolutely. Anytime, and ask us anytime if you need anything.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, and yeah, we actually did miss one super chat in there.
Did we?
From 52 Movies a Year, who sent us $9.99, and he says, "Happy birthday, Andre." Thank you so much. Midnight Edge is the first channel I subscribe to. Oh, wow, that's much appreciated. Thank you all, Andre, Tom, Rob, Script Doctor. You have the best guests, Critical Drinker, Stephen Walton. So, yeah, high praise all around.
Yeah, brother.
So
Thank you.
you.
Yeah, hail brother, indeed, indeed.
And yeah, I lost a bunch of super chats because we got some stupid spammers. It keeps coming in, but yeah,
Yeah, that's the name of the game, isn't it?
I got them. I nailed them twice now.
I can't wait till I'm big enough to have spammers.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure we got some more guests coming in here, but until then, was there anything you wanted to touch
yeah,
on?
Stephen asked about how I
That's
felt
right, yes,
about
the
pencils
Conan
down
thing.
and Jim Sub being affected on his Conan writing. Well, I'm obviously not happy about it because, let's just be perfectly frank, in the halls of Marvel, there's a bunch of assholes, and they absolutely deserve to put their pencils down because they've been nothing but unprofessional and discourteous in their conduct with fans. Jim Sub is not among them. Jim Sub has been nothing but the consummate gentleman, and as you may know, he even came to for an interview with this channel, which within the halls of Marvel is seen to be part of Comicsgate, and so him getting the approvals from higher up to come and talk to us, that did not happen on its own, let's say. So he campaigned for it. He's been nothing but a gentleman. I've spoken with him both before and after. He's a really swell guy. He's nothing like the other guys that go off on Twitter and insult people. He's never done anything like that. He holds his opinions to himself. I know he has them, but he holds them to himself. He doesn't infuse it into his writing, anything like that. And on top of that, he is, in my opinion, the best writer that's been attached to Conan for many years. And now when he was there, and he was the one that Marvel really should have put on the title since day one, and now he finally has to run, and then this comes and kind of like destroys it, because I know that he has finished a few more issues. But if this is the end of his run, or it will be resumed, that I don't know. But I'm obviously not happy about it. But hey, that's how it is. That's how it is. Of all the people in Marvel, then this is the one that kind of like hits me a little bit, because he deserves. He's a huge fan of this, and he does it right. So he would have deserved a good long run on this.
Yeah.
So that does annoy me. So guys, not everyone working at Marvel is a villain. There are some good people there, and Jim Sub is absolutely among them.
Yeah, I know. I don't know how much we can really talk about. I just know that from that whole experience, they know who we are.
Yeah, I think
all
it's
there is
I think it's the same thing in Hollywood. I've come.
Oh
to
yeah, it's connected to the same shit.
I've come to this realization because I've had the wonderful opportunity to speak to a few actors from Hollywood over the last couple of months, and it's almost humanizing, because we do get so much garbage coming out of some of these creatives, just attacking the fans and telling us what we can and can't say and what we can and can't like. That when you speak with actors and you enjoy the conversation and you get to understand they're just people like you, and they're just trying to do their job and they love what they do, then it reminds you that, yeah, it's usually the loudest people on social media that get all the attention, but that's usually the vocal minority.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like Twitter is not reality, and that's one of the reasons why you don't really find me there. It's not reality. It's like this weird alternate bizarro worlds where you have like an echo chamber of opinion, and especially political discourse, that creates this echo chamber mentality in some very limited circles, but then it's completely alien to the rest of the world outside of it.
It's where I go to find interesting characters to write my stories.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Yep. We get a $2 super chat there, Tommy or Rod.
Yeah, Nelson Sharita says, "Will Image Comics outlive Marvel and DC?"
I don't feel learned enough to give an opinion on that.
I'm not gonna say they'll outlive those two properties as far as a whole, but maybe in the comic industry, maybe. Because I can see a day where Warner Brothers or Marvel just says it's not worth the bill to put these comic books out there. We'll make movies and TV shows and shit out of the characters. We don't need comic books.
I can definitely see DC doing that.
Right. I've actually
So
heard rumors.
I think that Image Comics, they will absolutely outlive DC, I think. Certainly DC's publishing division. Will they outlive Marvel? That I don't know. But I'd put money on them outliving DC. Absolutely.
I think DC might go into kind of like its own little sabbatical for a time being, and then will be reinvented maybe 6 or 7 years after the fact. They'll dry up. They won't be doing anything. It'll be a bunch of back issues for that entire time, and then they'll come back with some newer stuff.
Well, they're in a
after
really
significant
fucked up
regime change.
position.
They are.
Because, and I've heard a lot of weird rumors come out of DC lately, and that's the thing is because despite all the support they're getting for a Snyder cut, we got to remember that they basically drove DC into the fucking ground, and they didn't just drive it into the ground; they drove it in with a steel hammer, and
With
Thor's
hydraulic
hammer.
assistant. Hydraulic
Mjolnir.
assistant.
Right? Yeah, like they killed that before it had a chance to get anywhere, and I get it. It's got a strong vocal fan base out there for the Snyder Cut, but that's just one bit. That's just one thing. It's gonna go nowhere from there. I don't know if, I mean, God bless my brothers and sisters who are clamoring for the Snyder Cut, and I hope they get it and they enjoy it. But what do they expect to happen? Because unless that thing flies off the shelves faster than toilet paper lately, we're not going to get another Snyderverse movie.
No.
They're doing everything they can to get away from the Snyderverse. Andre, I don't know if you want to say anything.
Yeah, I'll say one thing. I actually think that that there's if it can be done on the cheap to finish it up, I think that they will do it to launch HBO Max, put it as an HBO Max exclusive, use that as one thing to drive that thing. That's the only way it's happening. Only way.
It'll be
That's
the
kinda what I've been
quality
saying,
of the
yeah.
Richard Donner Superman 2 cut. Like
That's what I've been
it'll be.
saying. They'll slap together something with a bunch of deleted scenes, recolor grade it, make it close enough that Zack Snyder will sign off on it. And as long as he signs off on it, then the fans will just have to accept it, kind of thing.
And I have a better comparison than that even. Dominion, prequel to The Exorcist.
Oh,
Oh,
right.
God.
Yeah, there you go. Again, that was something that was slapped
That's even
together
probably
for
more
pocket
worse.
change in the last moment. Because for those that don't know the story, basically, originally they hired Paul Schrader to do a prequel to The Exorcist. And then he did it. And he did this slow, emotional,
Tommy
symptomatic...
McLaughlin actually wrote a draft of that.
Oh, right, yeah, there you go. There you go. And basically, that movie was... It was a beautiful movie, but it wasn't a horror movie that the studio wanted.
I prefer his version, actually.
Yeah, but the studio didn't. So then they hired Rennie Harlin, of all people, to shoot some new scenes. And
New
those
scenes,
new
my ass. He
scenes-
shot the whole movie again.
Yeah, and
Really?
those new scenes basically turn into redoing.
There's
the whole
one
movie.
shot of Paul Schrader's in Rennie Harlin's version. Otherwise, it's completely redone.
Yeah, and then they released the Rennie Harlin version, and then that kind of bombed. And then there was
Kind
like
of.
this movement. This was before Twitter, but let's just say that even before Twitter released, the Schrader version was still trending, and so they eventually did. They put some extra money in it just to finish it with like minimum
I want to say like
special
Ain't It
effects, and they
Cool
put it out.
News and a few other places had a lot to do with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the message board world.
Message board world, yes.
Yeah,
Because I was in
exactly.
on that shit, and everybody wanted to see it. And yeah, you're right. That's how it happened. And eventually, they just slapped it together for cheap. Because that's, if anything, I mean, let me be upfront. Neither version is that great. They're not a good movie by any stretch of the imagination.
Both of them are a Frankensteinian mess to satisfy William Jones' $2 request there. So
But
yeah,
Paul
they're
Schrader's
both
version is the more
Frankenstein mess.
watchable of the two. Rennie Harlin's is like just like a fucked up MTV video of the time. It's really, it feels cheesy. It feels slapped together like there was no thought process behind it. The ending is just a climactic hodgepodge mess. At least the Schrader's version has a storyline to it. It has a through line. And speaking of storylines and through lines, somebody's who really coincides with Midnight's Edge. This man right here. The man I told.
Wow.
I told
That was good.
about, what, 2 years ago now? That he was going to be huge. And when he gets bigger than us, don't forget the little folk. Gary from Nerdrotic.
Gary, pleasure to have you here.
Thanks. Yeah, Tom, I put on a couple of pounds because I'm locked down and I can't go to the gym. I'm sorry, but I'll try to walk a little more. How you doing? How is
That's
everybody?
not what I meant,
birthday,
motherfucker.
Andre, happy birthday.
Thank you so much, my friend. That's much appreciated. I'm so glad you're here.
I'm glad I can make it too. After 7 hours last night, I'm a little deranged, but listen, I have to be on this channel. Everybody, there's a couple channels that inspired me to do what I do. This is one of them. This is one of the first. This was the first pop culture channel I subscribed to and listened to every one of their videos. I don't even know something Marvel. It was something Marvel related, and I liked your intro. The little bass going on, at the it was cool. So yes, I started watching Midnight's Edge, and here we are. So I got to thank Andre actually, and Dune is effing woke. No, I'm just kidding.
Woke as fuck.
Oh yeah, we'll get into that. Oh yeah. Also, by the way, thanks for the shout out in your comic book video the other day.
Oh,
as I said in the comic, I was most pissed off that Jim Sub also had to put his pencil down. We actually spoke about that like 10-15 minutes ago.
Oh yeah, you were the first person I thought of. I'm like, oh, he's not gonna be happy.
Yeah, no. As I said, because Jim Sub, he's a real stand-up guy, and he's been nothing but a gentleman in his discourse with fans, with me, and within the halls of Marvel. Midnight's Edge is known as a comic skate thing, and he's still championed to be able to have this interview with us. He's been nothing but a gentleman, and I'm annoyed because I think he did really good with what he's written so far, and his run may be cut short because of this, which I think is unfair, both to him as a writer and to me as a Conan fan, and to every other Conan fan out there.
Speaking of Conan, go ahead. Sorry, finish.
So yeah, no, that was basically it.
I was just gonna say, Nelson Sharetta sent another $2 and says, Andre, happy birthday. What is best in life?
Yeah, the answer to that, of course, is crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and hear the lamentation of the women. Yeah,
lamentation of the women is the best part.
Crush your enemies, see them driven before you. Hey, Andre, have you ever read Derek Robertson's "The Way to the Crown," the Conan one shot that he did?
I have, yes, I have.
Yeah. I was just wondering. I premiered that in my shop. I loved it. I thought that was like one of the few times Derek got to write. So
yeah, it was. I liked that one. Like there are some Dark Horse did some really really good stuff.
They do. They're a good company.
Yeah.
They're the ones that are one of the ones that's going to survive because they're small. And they have.
We just spoke about. Yeah, let's hear your opinion. There was. I'm just gonna find out. There was a previous super chat we got where someone asked, "Is Image going to survive both Marvel and DC?" Whereas my answer was they'll survive DC, but I'm not so sure about Marvel. What's your answer to that?
I agree with that. I think
your
Image is going to be very hard hit. On the outside, it looks like, hey, they're creator owned and they have limited exposure in this, but if Diamond is not distributing and they don't have the infrastructure, sorry to bore you with this stuff, but to distribute the creator-owned works, it only works with Marvel. You're absolutely right. They are the giant. I don't know what the analogy is, like the whale or the big shark, and everybody else is the pilot fish. Marvel is the big sea creature that everybody follows, and if they go away, everybody else does. That's it. And if the comic shops go away, then that will even affect crowdfunding eventually, because the comic shops are still the foundation. We're in a transitional period. There will be a day where the comic shop is not needed, and that day is coming, but it's a little too soon right now. And it's the same for movie theaters. Tom and I talked about this, the transition in the digital. We still need movie theaters right now. The studios still need theaters. Comic books still need comic book shops. But the day is coming where they won't need either. And Image, they could have been one of the big three, and they just, I don't know. They the last couple of years they did great. The last year I was in business, they were killing it. They were #1 titles, and Saga came out, and everybody was happy, and then it just kind of died out.
Gary, is it your belief that if the comic book shops fail, that there won't be any interest generated, and that's why independent comics might fail as well?
Yeah, because that's still the foundation and heart and soul of the comics, and then you won't be growing anymore. So you'll have your hardcore comic fans, but eventually it'll just age out and die out, and then it'll be like baseball cards. There's still people who collect baseball cards; they still make them, but it's nowhere near as prevalent as it used to be.
Wow.
Right.
Gary, I wanted to give you a shout out, man. I like seeing YouTubers that, get behind their own message. And I heard you put another contest out for an independent shop to donate $1,000. That's beautiful, brother.
Ah, thanks, man. Yeah. 2 people donated $500 each. And YouTube gets a big chunk of that. So I threw out another $1,000 to a shop. I already got emails, and the contest ends on the 21st at 12 p.m. Pacific time. And I will just the first person who can prove it that they're still in business. I've already done that with Keith's Comics in Illinois, and I'll do it again. And I'm working on something else to help comic shops. I know there's a big charity going on with the comic book creators, and I got to vet this. I don't know what you guys have heard, but that book, I forgot what the name of the charity is, but they take like 40%.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
You want to know? That's a normal thing.
Yeah.
Every one of these charities check. And I've said this before for businesses I've worked for. I've looked into them, and 9 times out of 10, you'll be surprised if only 10% of an actual what you give goes to a charity.
Wow.
Sometimes.
Yep. There's a lot of red tape.
Yeah, because
they put in themselves to do that.
I'm not going to say where, but I used to work for a fast food restaurant. Those who know After Dark and shit know which one I'm talking about anyway, so it don't matter. And they would do this thing every year for the kids' drive. And I got to a point where I quit pushing it. And then my boss got mad, but I said, no, why should I? These kids aren't getting any of this money. They're only getting 10 cents on the dollar. That's bullshit.
Yeah, that's a bit.
That is about right. Like most, as mostly safe says in the comments. Charities are a scam. Not all of them, and many have like
just
good
check.
intentions.
They have to tell, I think.
Among the charities, there are loads of scams, which is why I appreciate what you do, Gary, because that is a genuine thing. It's from the heart, and there's so much less administration with it, everything. So you're actually doing God's work. You're doing a real charity, unlike many of those who claim to be charities.
Oh, I really appreciate that. I wish it could be more. I truly do. I
can attest to it. Because
sorry.
I was just going to say, because I remember the whole Anas thing. He came to me first, and the first person I talked to was Gary, because I knew you would be the one to be able to handle this thing, because you're best at this shit. And I can say, 100% of that went to him, and everything you've ever done, as far as I know, has been 100%. And you're a true leader in the community when it comes to this kind of a thing, and that's
absolutely
that's the reason I thought of you first.
Actually, Hail Caesar Caligula has a question that I have actually thought of myself. Why are people helping comic shops? Don't they support the mainstream?
That's a good question. I look at the entirety of the mainstream, all the decades of what I have supported, and what it's been lately is not my mainstream. I still think most comic shops are innocent parties in this. They didn't ask for the mainstream to change course, and they still are. Now, there are some shops, and believe me, I'm keeping an eye on it. Like, I'm not going to give $1,000 to a shop that I feel collaborated against Richard or Ethan. I could do that, and there's only a couple shops, and we all know who they are. And they haven't asked. But the vast majority of people just want to sell comic books, and they didn't ask for any of this. And they also support independent books. They also sell back issues. They also sell toys. And maybe I hold out hope. It's probably at 0.1% that the industry can change. I seriously doubt that, though. I mean, just what the news we heard recently, with variant covers coming with with the New Warriors, that just tells you everything you need to know. Marvel's not going to change, and I know the creators are not going to change, but maybe I'm just a fool, and it's probably because I'm a sucker. Like I said in my video, I had to write that letter saying goodbye to my customers. And I'm not afraid to admit, I was like, the wet works were on. It freaking killed me. It was like slowly, it was like that scene in Saving Private Ryan where the knife is slowly going in. It's just, that's what it was. It killed me. And it took me years, guys, to get over selling my shop. It was the best thing I had to do, but it was like mourning somebody. It was my life. It was everything to me.
Yeah, I always look at it as like comic book shops. That's a large piece of American culture, of our overall culture. So, I mean, to be attached to that, I think would be natural. All the time that's been spent there, all of the people that have been fans of these shops, supported these shops. Tabletop gaming, for instance. That's the way a lot of shops get through is by renting out space. So, I can see that from people who grew up in that culture how much it means to them. They wouldn't want to see it go away.
No, and I think we can bridge the gap with the independent creators and shops. I think a lot of shops just weren't aware of Comicsgate and other independent creators, and I think this is a way to make them aware. I tried to mention both in my video, and I support Zach and EVS. I've bought a lot of CG books. I don't publicize it because I just like to read the books. But
yeah, I've supported a few. But no, I think one way we can handle this is simple. Well, once shops open up again, if they do, that's the sad part. You just tell your comic book shops that these are the books you want to see in your stores, and they'll eventually have to listen to you because you're the customer. Because you got to remember, a lot of these guys that own these shops are in the bubble, and in the bubble, we know how they treat people in Comicsgate and outside of the comics world, even fans. We've seen people get kicked off of DC boards and stuff like that, or whatever. Or was it a Marvel board? Sorry, was it DC or Marvel? DC, I think it was on a forum because they said they bought a Comicsgate book, and that was why.
Yeah, that's what that was going. I used to read forums and not partake in it. I just don't, because the drama runs. It used to be just like Twitter. To me, it was always flame throwing, and I had no time for that. But yeah, most comic shop owners do not watch YouTube, and if they did, they would have channels. You would see that. I never understood why they didn't start one. As soon as this thing started up, it's such a great sales tool, and most comic book shop owners are showmen. That's when I thought about my job. You're a barker. That's what you do. You're a barker for comic books, and you always have to talk. And it's a perfect bridge to YouTube if you run a shop, because you're doing this. What live streaming is just what a comic shop owner does every day. Opens up his doors and boom, he starts.
That's why you're so good at it. Then you have practice.
Lots of practice.
Oh, I knew when I seen you, and I'm like, this guy's gonna go places. Yes.
Wait, I just want to make this clear. Did Gary own a comic book shop?
I did.
Oh,
it's a rumor. My sources are checking into it.
And I'm gonna own another one. I want to open one for give it to my kid. That's my whole thing.
Go. Beautiful.
And
yeah, that is beautiful.
We're gonna. Go ahead.
Also, I would like, before we move on with Super Chats, because we have to, because
let's do it.
I only have so much time, but I will also say, in terms of like this whole slowdown and everything like that, and in terms of like government rescue packages and stuff like that, what should be rescued are these small mom and pop shops. Mm-hmm. That is what all the stimulus should go to.
Yeah.
Whereas those companies that are considered too big to fail, let them fail. That is my advice as a professional within the financial industry. And the rescue package in 2008 was a scandal and a disaster. And what's happening right now is much, much better than that. But still there's a ways to go. And I just hope that there will be more support in it for smaller shops like this, because that is what the economy needs. It doesn't need the companies that are too big to fail. They are a burden on the economy and nothing else.
Yeah, they keep Hollywood was farming out so much of the, I don't want to say lower level, but the back channel stuff like metadata, QC, and I think you're right. I think it would be better to have a leaner, meaner Hollywood that'll hire people in LA.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. That's how you destroy an economy.
And let it have a phoenix rising of the best that can actually hold on and do something with it. So.
Have the huge companies. That's how you destroy an economy. What you need is loads and loads and loads of smaller local companies. That's how you have a thriving economy, not with the huge ones which are too big.
You kind of do need big companies. I mean,
you do, of course, but I'm talking about like in balance. Of course, you need some big companies. I'm not saying that you don't, but on the measure, if you
Comcast
have,
and a few of these other companies are way too fucking big.
That you don't need. That
Yes,
you
yeah.
absolutely don't
Yep.
need, and you certainly don't need to rescue them if
'Cause-
they're in trouble.
Look at all these people that lost their minds the other day when they realized there was a story that dropped that we've said a million times that Netflix is bigger than Disney. It's like, yeah, Disney's not as big as people think.
Yeah.
Comcast is bigger, which has Warner and shit Warner and AT&T are bigger. Comcast and Universal are bigger. They could easily, buy out just about anything they wanted.
And even they are small, like the IT
Yeah.
giants like Google and Apple. They
Apple,
could buy
yeah.
Disney many times over.
Yep.
Yeah, if they wanted to, they could come in and take over Disney right now.
Yeah, they could.
There,
easily.
no problem.
Yeah.
It's.
I mean,
it's-
even
it-
Amazon is now worth $1 trillion.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they're the biggest. Are they bigger than Apple yet or no?
I don't know, but
No, I
but-
think Apple is over 3 trillion.
3 trillion. Yeah, I
But
wanna
basically,
say.
pending approvals, they could all take over Disney tomorrow without breaking a sweat.
No,
Yep.
all they really need is George Lucas.
Yeah.
Importer sent us a Canadian $5.
Ooh, Canadian. I get to do this.
Go ahead and
Going,
read that,
eh?
Andre.
Yeah, thank you so much, my brother from straight across the sea, my fellow
And I didn't even
from
realize
across
if
the
this
fjord.
is true. Happy birthday, Andre, longtime fan. Also, since your first video was uploaded on April 19th, 2005. Well, I
He
think he
means
means
15.
2015. Yes. I wish it was 2005. Happy 5th birthday, Midnight's Edge. Is that true? I
That
wasn't
is
even
true.
paying attention
Thank
to
you,
that.
thank you so much. Yeah, that is true. The first video was published on April 19th, 2005. If you go into playlists, to everyone, if you're curious, if you go into playlists and there's a playlist called Vintage Midnight's Edge, there you will find all of the old videos, the ones that really started the channel, the first things that me and Kevin did, who I started the channel with, including then our very first upload on April 19th, 2015, not 2005, but yeah, 15, when we were talking Daredevil and Punisher, because like the channel started kind of like with like the darker side of comics. That's how it began. That's even in the name, Midnight's Edge, which we had some brainstorming for. But basically, where the name comes from is from the precursor to Marvel's Max line. So you had Midnight Suns and Marvel Edge, and we just smashed them together into Midnight's Edge. So.
And
That's the original iteration of the channel, and hence the name, which has nothing to do with production trouble in Hollywood, which is what we came to be known for later on. So yeah, that's good times, and that's how it started. So the importer is absolutely right, and thank you so much for all the long-term fans that have been there since then. We had like 15 subscribers after that first month, and the importer may be one of them.
All right. Next super chat we've got here. You're gonna have to take this one, Andre.
Let's see. The next one, that would be... Oh, here, I see which one you mean. Samantha Dega, you mean, right? Who sent us
Yes.
£2 And she says, Would er tossen, happy birthday from Scotland. And what that means is, where is Tussen? Tussen is the name of a little dog, a puppy dog. I believe this is from an originally British or maybe even Scottish, certainly from the UK series of children's books. Let's see. Would er tossen is Where's Spot by Eric Hill. That's the original name for that. So I read that when I was a kid, and in Norwegian, because as the more perceptive of you may be aware, English is not my native language, so I'm speaking all the time now in a second language. But in my language, Where's Spot was translated into Hvor er tassen.
Sounds like a tussin to me. All I can think about is Chris Rock thing.
Yeah.
Get more tussin in there.
But yeah, no, that
Rob
was,
does a better Chris Rock.
It's always fun writing scripts and everything in a different language, although I have plenty of practice. I'm kind of used to it. So yeah.
Robotussin. Get that tussin deep in there.
Yeah. And moving on, I think we have a few others, Tom.
Yeah, Jason Gallagher. I think that's Swiss francs. Is that not 5?
That is 5 Swiss francs, yes.
Andre, there's no such thing as internet friends, but as someone who listens to a lot of your streams, you're my internet friend. Happy birthday, mate. Well,
Oh,
thank
thank
you.
you so much, mate. I really appreciate that, and I really like Switzerland. I've been there a couple of times, mostly in French Switzerland. I have to go to German Switzerland at some point. That would be cool. Maybe check out the Gegenbad.
Here's one
haven't-
that's
Haven't Switzerland yet.
here's one from John Willis for Nerdrotic.
Hey.
So Gary, if comic book shops go away, will Marvel have to change their movie logos or give up on boomer money? No one will know what a book is. He makes some interesting points there. Break that down a little bit real quick there. I don't know.
Well, I mean, the MCU will be fine for a little while, but they've already destroyed their source material. I don't know. Listen, comic book shops are still very important to they're still a meeting place. Some do very well. Okay, they're not this thing dying on the vine. I was in freaking Midtown. That place was busy as hell. It's a great comic shop, and I know a couple of friends of mine own shops here in California that to this day are doing great. SoCal Comics. So there's a place for them, and there's a market for comics. Look at all the crowdfunding; those are all potential customers. But I think Disney will get over Marvel, and they're going to burn it out eventually. And they did destroy the comic book shop. The minute Disney bought Marvel, that was the beginning of the end. That's when things went on hospice, and it hasn't been growing. It's been stagnant. And it's so frustrating because there's still a huge market for it out there, and manga just stole all their thunder. Video games, manga stole everything, and so it's just dying slowly and aging out.
Speaking of manga, wasn't there a
Manga's
super chat
better.
about manga that we skipped over before? Because I thought wasn't that another one, or did we get that one, Andre?
Let's see. I'm just gonna go and
No,
check
that just
through and
reminded me
see
of one
if,
I thought we didn't get to. Maybe.
I don't see one about manga here.
Okay, maybe it was.
I just want to say while I've got Gary here, I saw that tweet from Kelly Sue DeConnick about she's raising money to help save comic book shops. I'm like, talk about someone who has zero self-awareness. It's I'm like, they wouldn't be in this predicament if you just gave them something they could sell.
And there was another tweet Gary showed from Chuck Wendig. Is he also doing the same thing now?
Yeah. Chuck Wendig, G. Willow Wilson, who played her part more within the narrative, but she was part of these people. There was a lot of behind the scenes shenanigans that some of us know and don't know about, and that's why Donnie Cates. Because you look at some of Donnie Cates' tweets and they're like, some might think they're not that bad, but I mean, he ran a shadow campaign to get rid of EVS, and this is well known by a lot of people. I even heard of it. I mean, I kind of know EVS. We talk once in a great while. He came on my channel for the first time, but I mean, I was aware of it before that. So yeah, there's so many shenanigans and childish high school tomfoolery going on in the comic book industry, because there's so much Arrested Development, but there are the good people in there that can't say anything. Jim Zub can't say anything. He'll get railroaded. So yeah, for those people to come out now, Steven, and let's help the comic shops. You created the problem, and Clownfish did a video on it, and so did your boy Zach, and they're great videos, and they get into the weeds with that. I try to refrain as much as possible as going after individual creators. I like going after Jar Jar Abrams and Bob Iger, but I can't help it when it's Kelly Sue DeConnick. She is one of the worst. She doesn't have the talent to write superhero comic books. I gave her a chance.
Bob Iger. I used to take my name Bob Iger. Yeah. Hello, I am Bob the First. Hello, this is Bob Iger. You will all buy my Marvel comics. I don't care if there's nowhere to buy them. You are going to buy them.
That story is way too long for us to get into right now, Rob, because Andre has to go in like 15 minutes. So, and I know Gary's on limited time too as well. So we got to get to these super chats. Here.
And again, happy birthday, Andre. God.
Thank you so much. That's really appreciated.
Speaking of happy birthdays, here's one from Ordsboard, our very good friend. Sorry I couldn't make it on right away. Happy birthday, Andre. Make sure you do something that brings you joy. Hail the local comic shop. I told him in a message if he wanted to come in, we'll make room for him.
Yeah.
I'll kick Rob anytime.
But you will not kick Pope Bob Iger.
Pope Bob Iger can kiss mine. Don't make me get Frank out right now. We don't have the time. Adam,
if you kick Pope Bob Iger, you go right to hell. You know that. You cannot kick the Pope.
There you go.
Adam Wofford.
I'm already in hell. I'm married to Kathleen Kennedy, so ha!
I'm upset everyone has gotten our good movies based on favorite books. Hopefully Dune is good, but us Dark Tower fans still haven't gotten a good movie or TV series. What we got was that crappy 21. You know, I'm still waiting for a good Dirk Pitt movie too. So Sahara wasn't bad for what it is, but anybody else? And no Dirk Pitt, no.
Just you.
Yeah, no, in terms of
well, and you
Dark
missed
Tower.
this beginning part. Well, you should. I was gonna say if you wanted to reiterate what you said about Dune before, because I was trying to get this to Gary last night, but I know he's got 100 things going on during the show, and it's tough to get him info while he's on. But yeah, I was trying to reiterate your take on the whole Dune stuff last night too.
Yeah, no, I saw, because I also saw in an earlier video that Gary reiterated that I say that woke, script doctor says that Dune is not woke, and Robert Meyer Burnett says that Dune is not woke, and I stand by that. I think that what we're seeing, I understand everyone that thinks it is, because I believe that article in Vanity Fair, which you will know is aimed primarily at women, so this is something that's aimed at the female audience that reads Vanity Fair. And what's Dune about? The white savior that comes to rescue the Middle Eastern people. And I believe that this is a way of getting ahead of that by trying to push the buttons to gain necessary support within the industry, and trying to sell the movie as woke when it really isn't. Because based on everything I have heard, it's not. The only thing that can possibly be construed as woke in any kind of sense or form is the gender bending of Liet Kynes. Not making the character black, because that was done to facilitate the casting of Zendaya, but making the character a woman as well. That's maybe some pandering, which I've been saying in the videos the whole time. But outside of that, everything else that they keep on promoting is right there in the source material. And Jessica's role hasn't been elevated beyond making her kind of like the guide to the world of Dune, to rid the movie of need of opening narration and loud thinking and stuff like that. So until otherwise is proven, I stand by my earlier assertion that Dune has not gone woke.
That's why I constantly caution myself and other people. It's like, I know we've been burned with this woke culture so much.
Right. It's understandable.
Yeah, but if there are changes made, like a gender swap or a race swap, or a change of a character that is done to benefit the story, then we should be open about that. Don't let all the franchise that have burned us, all the creators that have burned us, keep us from allowing creators to try and shape a story and make minor changes or major changes that for the betterment of the story itself.
But but from what
sorry, go ahead, Tom.
Well, you could pick up from here, because I was just going to say, from what Andre and you told me, Script Doctor and stuff, that this version of the script is much more faithful to the book than the other version anyway.
It is pretty much the Vanity Fair article. I would equate it to a poorly endowed man putting a cucumber in his pants and trying to please women, because by the time the movie gets released, a lot of people who thought this Vanity Fair article is real and was expecting for it to be kind of a woke movie are going to be disappointed, because it's just going to be a fairly faithful adaptation of Dune, at least in my opinion.
Well, you also have
what I read.
to worry about when they try and pitch things as being woke, like what they did with the last Harley Quinn movie. That, you know, and then from people that have seen it, I haven't said that it really wasn't that woke, but because it had that stigma on it, it didn't get the support that it could have.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So I think that the article was ill-advised, but at the same time, I think that the movie itself isn't woke. And if I'm wrong, if something changes my mind, if they have done some last-minute changes that I'm not aware of, I'll be the first to admit it and scream it from the rooftops.
Yeah.
Likewise as well, because there's always a I mean, one thing we also have to remind the audience is that Dune is not going to be the whole book in one movie. There's 2 movies to this thing, and they haven't written the second one yet. So we can cross our fingers that they're going to maintain the same type of quality and approach to the sequel that they're doing with the original from the script that you and I have read.
Yeah.
But there's
And
always
that
a possibility
script
that it could go somewhere else.
Fantastic! I just have to say, it's a
Yeah.
fantastic adaptation. It's everything you can hope and dream for of Dune script adaptation. Like, it's better than I ever hoped to dare and dream.
All right. Well, I know we got to rush through this because you ain't got much time here.
We do.
Adam
In terms
Wolford,
of Dark Tower fans, yeah, you had Tom Rothman to deal with. Sorry about that.
don't say
That's
his
what
name.
happens.
Well, you know what's funny about Tom Rothman is he actually sounds pretty gall darn close to Rob's iteration.
Did somebody say my name? Oh, Andre, you're still celebrating your birthday. Okay, I'll just go then. Everyone, go see Ghostbusters to Afterlife, everyone.
That's not coming out this year anymore, Tom. Sorry. Darian 217 sent $2. Happy birthday, Andre. Cheers to you. Thank you so much, Darian.
Thank you so much. That's very much appreciated.
I'm trying to get to the next one here without losing it, because if I move it too fast, then the thing bops out. Where is
YouTube
it?
is not very friendly in that way.
Well, it just StreamYards needs to fix it to where you can get to the whole chat through the whole. Because now I just lost a bunch of them. Do you got the next one there, Andre?
Yeah, I do.
I
There's
think it's John
actually
Dorsey.
there's 2 more actually, and they're both for Gary actually. John Dorsey. He has sent us $5. Thanks very much, and he's asking, Gary, what are your thoughts on the at-home Comic Con going on right now?
None. An at-home Comic Con. I haven't seen it. I wouldn't partake in that. I'd rather watch a Midnight's Edge live stream. But if people enjoy it, that's cool. I heard they were going to do something like that, but yeah. I was
going to say Ordsboard and a few other guys were talking about there was a smaller one doing it, and then all of a sudden I seen Collider was going to do it, and now I'm not so surprised that. See, at least when the other guys were doing it, it was a little low key. You know, they had like Kevin Smith and some other, people that normally come to these kind of things. So it was kind of like, I can't remember the other names.
So it's a live
offhand.
stream, basically.
Yeah, it was like a live stream thing where everything. But yeah, and then all of a sudden Collider announced they're going to do theirs, and it's like, really? Come on, guys.
I thought yeah. I thought they wanted to do deep
right?
fakes. Don't they want to do a deep fake?
Huh? Yeah.
I want
They
to know.
stole my George Lucas, if you ask me. But anyway,
I said Comic-Con's been canceled. We know that, but at the same,
they've got nothing to show.
Yeah, exactly. They've got nothing to show, but
everything's been delayed.
There's still comic books to sell.
Well, that part,
I think they're going to regret that.
True. I take that back.
Yeah.
I do apologize.
No, I totally think they're going. No, it's okay. They
no,
it
is. It's true though. That's what it is, and that's where I apologize. I should have.
I cannot wait for you, Garrett, to review the new Warriors.
I'm looking forward to it. It's like my birthday. It's like Andre's birthday. It's like Christmas. I can't wait for that comic book to come out. I hope they don't delay it. I think Marvel's going to they're going to start doing digital first very, very soon. So,
Garrett, you said you read Gotham High, right?
I did.
How did that feel?
You got to read that thing high.
It felt like my soul being pulled out by my urethra.
See? Jason Gallagher sends $2 or 2 Swiss francs, I should say. Gary owned a comic shop. There's a rumor going around.
He never talks about it. Yeah,
I never bring it up at all.
Drink.
By the way, Anna's in the chat and she says happy birthday.
Oh,
as well.
hey, Anna, and thanks. I'm sure Tom can supply you with you a link.
I did, and she said she's dealing with a few things, so I think that's why she hasn't popped in.
I just keep saying though, Gary. Just one more thing. Just we've been screaming how long? Create new characters, and this is the best they can do.
It was a giant middle finger to 2 YouTubers. That's how petty these people are, and this is why they've destroyed an industry and not thought about the innocent people, the people who are now going to be permanently laid off at Diamond, all the comic shop employees who are permanently laid off now. They don't care.
Everyone down the line, from the delivery guys to the guys at the printer. I mean, jeez, this affects so many more people.
It does, and a lot of the comic shops chose the sides of the creators, and I'm sorry, guys, you picked the wrong side on that one. Always side with your customer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Emperor Billy Ritchie with $1.99 says, Gary, you would enjoy Third Eye Comics. I can't believe you probably haven't heard of them already, but if you haven't, there's a recommendation.
I will check it out. I saw one crowdfunding one that Cecil tweeted that looked crazy, cool as hell. It's called a Cyborg USA, and it's vintage 80s art, and it looks pretty damn cool. I'm probably going to buy that one.
All right. And we got a couple super stickers from Stephanie Littlepage. Let me see if I can see what it is. It's a birthday cake, and assumedly so. And then we got another one. Thank you so much, by the way, Stephanie. And we got one from Marky Mint for $1.49 or dollar. That's not a dollar. €1 49
pound.
Pound. Yeah. You know what I mean. All right, and I think that's it. Is that all of them? I think so.
I believe we are up to
all right.
Date with
so,
that. Yeah.
Andre, I just want to take 2 minutes. We got 2 minutes left. I just want to say happy birthday to you. This has been the craziest couple years of my life. I've never had a greater boss, probably even a greater friend than I've had than you. And Rob has been, great too, but I can kick him off the stream. So
I'm expendable.
Yeah.
No, man. I truly don't say this to a man very often, but I do love you genuinely, even though we've never met face to face.
Well, we'll amend that as soon as this whole gift from China goes away. So that
this man has changed
again.
my life.
China.
Like I said to him earlier, I don't know what I could give him that would even be remotely close to what this man's given me. So, thank you so much for everything, and happy birthday, man.
Oh, thank you so much, Tom. I really, really appreciate that. And likewise, I appreciate everyone here on the panel, and of course I appreciate every single one of you in the chat, everyone who is watching and supporting the channel. It's an absolute pleasure to have you all come and join here. Thanks for every single one that's been sending me greetings. I really, really appreciate it. It warms my heart, and it's absolutely is motivation to carry on what we do, especially in an atmosphere where YouTube is basically doing everything they can to certainly not grow our content, let's say. So
Right.
I haven't said too much.
We got one more super chat, and then I think we'll give the microphone real quick to Rob, since he's known you longer anyway. Celestial Woodway sent $5. New comics suck. Golden Age through Bronze Age only. I mean, you can still support your store by buying older comics as well, right, Gary?
Yep. Oh, most definitely.
Yep, there you go. So Troy Tempest sent Australian $5. Just woke up. Happy birthday, Andre.
Oh,
Thank
thanks,
you so
Troy.
much
Much appreciated. You woke up
so
just in
yeah,
time.
we ain't got much time because Andre's got to go. Rob, real quick. I wanted to give you a little bit more time than that. Sorry.
That's okay. Let me just say that I remember that night Andre found me derelict in the gutter on the streets of Oslo. He handed me a Bible and said, "Come this way, friend." And then I was saved. No,
You left out the hookers and the needle in your arm.
Needle in my arm, hooker, dead hooker, lying beside me.
She was dead.
Well, I'm good at covering up the evidence, so.
Yeah.
This is the first I'm hearing of this.
He's at the bottom of the fjord now. But anyway, no. Andre found me doing when he saw the my Inhumans video, which was the only one anyone did, I think, at the time, when there was still hope there was going to be a good Inhumans movie. And it's been a crazy ride ever since. I mean, and hopefully it'll get even crazier. And we took this thing, we made our own movement, we made it better with blackjack and hookers, and And here's to more success in the future, Andre. We couldn't do it without you.
Absolutely, and thank you. And also, I have to extend a thanks to both Rob and to Tom, my partners in crime. I couldn't do this without you. Like, first there was Rob, that basically came to the rescue after Kevin had to leave. Kevin is the guy that I created Midnight's Edge with, and he had to leave for his own reasons and left me with the channel basically alone. And he was the tech guy. I was kind of like the creative force, and then I was the creative force without anyone to throw ideas back and forth with, and without anyone to help me do the videos, and I had to do everything for myself there for a while, and it was a pain in the ass, and there was a time there when I didn't know if the channel was going to continue. But then I found Rob. I reached out to Rob. He became the new Narrator Supreme, and with his help, that kind of gave the impetus to carry on, really carry on, and just gave like the whole channel like a new life and new direction and all of those things. So it forced me to be more creative, and yeah, Rob's voice came in, and then later, of course, Tom, I couldn't have done this without you. Like, all the smoothness of the videos, that's all Tom. Tom coming in and helping in with the editing, steering me in the right direction, giving me right feedback. That is what has allowed the channel to grow the way that it did, because I couldn't have taken this to the level if I had to do everything solo. Tom does so much behind the scenes. He probably puts in more hours than I do. And yeah, I couldn't have done this without you. So yeah, the feelings is absolutely mutual. So Tom and Rob, thanks so much for being there, being part of the team, helping me be Midnight's Edge. And you are every bit as much Midnight's Edge as I am. And also, Gary, Script Doctor, Anna, everyone in our community. It's been such a delight to see all of you come up. Of course, Gary, you were doing this even before I did, but you certainly really came to your own later. It's been an absolute joy.
And Doomcock, we've loved to see grow.
And Geeks and Gamers, everyone who now are in our circle. It's been an absolute joy, and see so many others come to, and the growth of the fandom menace, and it's just beautiful. It warms my heart.
Yeah, if there's two channels that I feel like we really took under our wings early on, it was Nerdrotic and Doomcock, and really pushed the shit out of you guys, because
you guys did, and I will.
We loved everything you guys did, and of course, check out Stephen Walton and Script Doctor and Mr. H, who didn't make it back, even though he said he was going to try.
Hail the author,
and of course, Critical Drinker as well. My horrible impression.
Yeah. My Mecca Random couldn't be here. She says
Mecca. Yeah, Mecca said happy, and so did Candy, by the way, and Mary as well. They also did send their love. They weren't able to make it. There's so many of you guys. I know I'm probably going to get 100 messages after this, so I don't want anybody to feel like they're left out. We got another quick super chat. Swiss Franks, you are all great. Thank you for all the amazing videos. Well, so are you, Jason Gallagher. It's you guys that make this happen. That's the important thing. And you're going to have to read this, because I don't know what the hell that is.
Tom, give André some Kvagfjordskage if you can't think of anything else.
I don't know if I need. I don't need to get Me Too'd. I was going to say, what the fuck is that?
Crag?
That is literally the best cake on the face of the earth.
All right. Well, I'll try to write that down, or I'll just ask Andre later what it is. What is it? No, okay. All right. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us, and of course, once again, happy birthday, Andre, and thanks everybody in the chat for joining us for this very, very special Midnight's Edge birthday celebration, and the channel as well. Happy 5 years to Midnight's Edge.
Yeah, that absolutely. So yeah, and also every single one of you in the chat, every single one that we didn't mention, like our
world-class
ladies,
bullshitters, of course, too. We also
everyone,
everybody.
Our ladies in the Toxic Femininity podcast, every single one. We love you all, and
Drunk 3P, all those guys, Geeks and Gamers, Jeremy and those guys, all been great.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Comics Division too. Comics Division. Yeah, of course.
Thanks for
Absolutely.
bringing him on, by the way.
Oh, no problem,
I
man.
appreciate that.
We'll be here for 10 years if we name everybody, and I apologize. I really don't want to leave anybody out, and I feel bad
neither
if we
do I,
do.
but
But yeah, there's been so
It's-
many
it-
of you guys that have been so great.
It's hard to remember everybody. And hail to my brothers and sisters in the chat. I always feel like I'm one of you up here on the panel. And there's been people like Andre that gave me the inspiration to write the Fandom Menace volumes, to create my own channel, and to speak my mind. Thank you to every one of the Fandom Menace who came before me, who gave me that inspiration. Like Andre, subscribe to your favorite channel, support your favorite channels, and please subscribe to Script Doctor. He is criminally undersubbed.
All right.
yes.
Oh, well,
yes,
thank you very much for
Doctor.
that. Yeah, well, my existence is in part to Midnight's Edge here. I mean,
He is the
I
fifth
was-
Beatle of Midnight's Edge now, basically.
I was getting lost in the Hollywood system in regards to like my thought mentality, and I stumbled upon you through Bounding into Comics article about Star Trek Discovery, and decided maybe this would be a good outlet for me to get different voices and different conversations, and I'm very grateful for it, and I'm very grateful for everyone's support, and being privileged enough to. And receiving the privilege to be able to interact with everyone here among the streamers, and also in the chats and comment sections of all these videos from these great YouTubers.
All right. All right. We got to get going because we're starting to sound like hippies.
They're not
Yeah.
people, they're hippies.
And I have
Alright.
to get going because I
Yes, you have to
some kids
go.
that
So,
needs to be put to
I
bed.
want to just get us going because you got to go, Andre. You're the show tonight. So, hail, Andre. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.